It was about 6:15 in the morning. I'm drunk and I'm high and I'm in Chicago.
You are tuned in to the House Jack City Podcast. You're listening to the House Jack City Podcast, featuring weekly guest mixes from DJs and producers from all over the world. Stay connected. Follow on Facebook at the House Jack City Podcast. I'm giving you VIP access with House Jack City's new show, Backstage, as we talk to DJs and producers that share their stories and help those who are looking to follow their dreams.
This is
the House Jack City Podcast.
Yo, bass, drop that shit.
Put those hands up. Put those hands up.
As the Techno King would say, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. That's right, welcome to the first episode of House Jack City's Backstage. I'm your host, Rob Eggers, or as many know me as, Dr. Bass. Welcome to the show, everybody. I have an amazing first episode planned for everyone as we go right into the nightlife. Putting you on the list, getting you VIP access as we go backstage. That's right, and what a VIP pass we have for everyone today. I have G. Cavelle on the show, just launching GLR Records, excuse me. G. Cavelle, what's up, my brother?
What's going on,
to the
brother?
First episode, baby.
Man, thank
Woo!
you. I thank you, brother. When you called me, man, I was very blessed that you asked me to be on the first episode, man.
Thanks,
so,
man.
Hopped on a plane from South Florida and had to come back to Chi-Town. So
I love it. We'll get right into it. Hey, listen, it's unfiltered, so if you can't deal with, the F word, can you say it? Just say fuck. All right, if you can't handle fuck, shit, ass, even some titties, I mean, you might want to shut it off right now. This show's not
anyone that knows G,
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of titties involved.
and a lot of fucking, let me tell you. So, I mean, we're not aiming to go, deep to where we're going to be saying the F word every time. But hey, there's some stories that you just have emphasis. You have to say the F word to put some emphasis on the story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we have to do something real quick.
This is the sound that everybody that comes and hangs with GCP, they hate to hear. That means they're drinking too slow.
Yep. And you know what that means? You're getting a G-bomb.
You're getting another G-bomb, backing it up.
So what we got going on is we're going to talk a lot about how G started in the industry, how we met, because it was really cool how we met. And I wish our other brother was here, Kid Rec, because he could tell you too, because that's how you met us. You met us both at Fire and Ice.
Yep.
Yeah, with Georgie.
Yep.
So we got a story on that one. We're going to talk about we just talked about the G-bombs. We mentioned that. We're going to talk about how they were created. And you told me a story off the air before we started. The creator of the G-bomb is going to be out there tonight.
Yeah. Actually, the bartender that created the G-bomb, I was giving her props tonight.
That's awesome. So, that's something that you like I said, you told me a little bit of off the air, but man, I can't wait for everyone to hear that story how the G-bombs were created. And then we're going to give some advice to some of the newcomers in the industry. Very important. I think this is a segment where everyone wants to kind of tune in, listen to. If you're a new DJ or wanting to become a DJ or a producer for that matter, of any type of artist, even if you're a vocalist, you might want to hear some advice that GCP is going to give out to everyone later in the show. I'm also going to give out some of my experiences that actually just occurred not too long ago. Can't name any names, but, certain situation is going to get exposed. I just can't hold back anymore, and that's the unfiltered part of the show, baby. And Also, another thing we're going to talk about is contracts, and that kind of gets into newcomers' advice as well. And then demos. We're going to talk about demos. I mean, you just started GLR Records, so you're probably going to be looking for some demos out there.
For sure.
We'll get into that. You can give the info out to some of the newcomers, vocalists. You can tell everybody what you're looking for. And then we're going to play a game called Would You Rather.
Oh, God.
And it's not like for the people that saw the pregame video on Facebook.
Yeah,
and
G got
Instagram.
nervous really quick when he mentioned that off the cuff. I was like, uh-oh.
All right, so let's get right into it, man. Welcome.
Let's do it, brother.
Welcome again.
Man, I'm so happy to be here, man. I'm not happy about the 20-degree weather. I left 75 and sunny in the beaches, but but I'm glad to be with you, brother. Glad to be here, and I appreciate you inviting me to be be on the first show, and it's an honor for me. So
thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And why don't we get into that right away? How did we meet? Let's go all the way back to 2004, 2005.
Yeah, we were only 12. Base, I gotta help you here.
Yeah,
listen, we gotta sell records. Yes. We gotta do shows. We were only 12 when we were kids. We're young kids.
Mm-hmm. We were young kids. Absolutely. We're still sucking on some pacifiers.
For sure.
But yeah, we go all the way back to 2004, 2005, and you happened to run into us, me and Kid Rec.
Yep.
As I mentioned, we started Structured Music, and I'll talk a little bit about that on either this show or a solo show I do here in the future, how Structured Music started. But you know all about that. Me and Kid Rec were DJing on vinyl back in the day.
Vinyl, yeah.
We were one of the last DJs to really, push it with the records because the CDJs just came out not too long.
Right.
And everyone was starting to switch over to CDs, man. USBs weren't even out yet.
Yeah.
And everyone was playing the CDs. Me and Rec coming in with the
10 crates.
10 crates of records. Got Rec scratching as always, and we had our little fan base, man, back in the day. And then you came out and you offered us G-bombs.
I think that's how the deal started, right?
I think that's when it was introduced.
Anybody that's listening to this show right now is going to tell you it always starts with a G-bomb.
It always starts with a G-bomb, baby.
Any good contract negotiation starts with a G-bomb.
Absolutely. That's where it starts, and that's what we're drinking right now. Let's go ahead and give the tingle one
God
more
bless.
time, everybody.
There you go.
So going back to Fire and Ice, you guys came in, you and Georgie.
Yep.
And we were DJing. You're like, man, who are these guys? And kind of explain a little bit, how it went down. I mean, I know it's kind of vague because a lot of G-bombs were taken over the years, but I remember the initial meeting place, put it that way.
Well, we talked about, because we had, Fire and Ice was going on. You guys were doing Fire and Ice, but we had the Buzz thing coming up.
Yes.
And I had just signed with Georgie, and, we were getting ready to do this downtown nightclub that was called Buzz, and everybody that is in the business, that's been in the business a while, is going to be like, oh my God.
Was it Lake and Erie?
I remember that place. Yeah, it was right by Spy Bar.
Yeah, and everyone remembers Coyote Ugly back in the day. That's when
it was right next to Coyote Ugly.
Right next, and we would go in there right before we go into Buzz, and we watch it go crazy. And they were only open till midnight.
Yep. Coyote Ugly was.
Everyone would come over.
And then everyone would come to Buzz, And Georgie was cutting a deal. It was my first deal with Georgie, and he was cutting a deal, and he paired me up with Terry Bristol. And I'm sure everybody knows who Terry Bristol is, and shout out to Terry. She's going through some things right now medically, and our prayers are with her. And,
definitely,
and she's our girl, man.
She is, and we're fighting for her, man. She's a strong woman.
She's our girl,
and she's gonna fight through all this. And not gonna give too much away. If you're following her, you might know what's going on. But Terry, we have you in our thoughts and prayers, and keep smiling and keep playing.
And she does,
beats.
man. She is such a warrior. I've seen her fight through so much. So anyway, so he was pairing me up with Terry, and for me, Terry was very avant-garde at that time. He had done Crowbar, and I was a more soulful Southside DJ. Like I wasn't sure how this was going to mix. And Georgie knew, he had the vision. He said, no, this is going to go good. I got you. And so he paired us up, and we did really well. And then we started talking about, we were doing really well, and Buzz started really taking off. And then Georgie was like, we really need to get some openers because we can't, blow our load.
Correct,
For
like
any other, I don't know what else to say. I got a couple of G-bombs. I don't know what else to say. But we can't blow our load here and have Terry and G just, get on stage. We need some openers. And I said, hey, those cats we met, Structure Music, I really love their vibe, man, and I really love what they bring to the table, and they're pure and they're genuine, and they mix. They're live mixers. They don't use any programs, and they really mix live. I said those are the guys. Those are the cats we need to bring in, because they're the young. They're the next generation. And so, we talked and we brought Georgie into the mix, and he sealed the deal. Next thing you know, you guys were at Buzz with us, and it was history after that.
It was fantastic. Then moving forward to Buzz, and that was we had Buzz there for about almost 2 years. Am I correct?
Yeah.
It was like 2005, close to 2007, and at that time I started Blur in 2007.
You did.
I think we're just finishing up Buzz, but it really made my personal career lift off, and I can't personally thank you enough for that. And a lot of people need to know that that know me is, man, how did you start? Because obviously over the years, it was a blur. Mm-hmm. You knew it was coming.
No reference. No pun intended.
No pun intended. I said oxymoron. Dumbass. These G-bombs are getting to me already, G. We're only, almost 12 minutes into the show?
Yeah. Trust me, you keep drinking G-bombs, you're going to think you're 55 minutes into the show.
So, going to Buzz was a phenomenal experience. I thought the bartenders, the bartending staff there was phenomenal. The ice sculptures, anyone that remembers the ice sculpture shots that were being done, and there's a new ice sculpture every week. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
The actual floor itself, the sound system was great. The VIP area was phenomenal. We had 150, 200 people.
It was
of
a
our
great
own
run, bro.
Coming out.
It was a great run. It was
great
a great
time
run.
in the industry. The industry was popping. It's when MySpace was around, and that was, you had to literally go out and flyer. You had to put flyers on the cars.
And I remember, dude, the reality of it is when we took that club over on a Friday, Saturday, if they had 200 people, they were lucky. When we took over with Terry and I, and then we brought you guys in, we were like 800 strong, 900 on a weekend, and they were like lined around the building, bro, to get in. Buzz was the spot when we were there. You know?
Speaking of lying around the building, I got a funny story about Buzz. I'll never forget this. So Georgie had to bring me outside, and we were trying to figure out, who we can bring in. Now, this is where we're going to go backstage, everybody. Backstage alert. We're going to tell you a little bit of a secret. Back in the day, how we had to bring people in. So any cliche you probably heard is probably correct, what I'm about to say. So basically, Georgia brings me outside and says, hey, man, I need you to help get this crowd in. We need people. He goes, make sure you find the most attractive people to bring in. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. So, and he goes, here, and then try to sell these passes for this or that or whatever it was. So my dumbass goes, all right, Georgie, I got this.
Georgie, always the upsell master.
I was like, all right, Georgie, I got this. I hold up, and I shit you not, I hold up the tickets and say, does anybody want to get in for $25? I've never seen an older man run so fast back over with me and looking like he was going to rip my guts out. Georgie comes to me and says, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, oh, shit. He goes, don't say that, this and that. So I learned something, Promotion 101, that wasn't really something we needed to offer. It wasn't something we were supposed to offer, and I got in big fucking trouble for it. So for you newcomers out there that want to promote, make sure that you don't open your mouth until you know every single detail. Don't take it into your own hands, because you will get smacked and your reputation might be on the line for something stupid like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, over my career, I've learned from, and promoters and I have had our challenges. We can get into that later. But the reality of it is, I learned through promotion is, never give it away for free because they expect it every weekend. Right. So at the end of the day, make them want to be there, but don't give it away for free, because then they expect it every weekend. And when they don't get it, then they're upset, then they're mad, So we made Buzz. We made Buzz the place to be. That's what we did, between Terry, myself, the owners of Buzz, you guys coming in. We made it, and Murph.
Big Murph, baby.
Big Murph. You talk about Murph.
Hey, happy birthday again, brother. He got 2 shout-outs on 2 shows.
Hey, listen, I listen to your podcast, babe. I do my homework, And Murph, man, he was a Southside king of promoting parties.
Yes, he was.
And when we had him and all these people, it was really about. It wasn't about what we gave away. It was about that's the place you need to be because that's where the party is.
Yeah,
and that's really what it's about promotion. It's not about what can you give them for free. It's about how do you make them feel that that's the place to be tonight.
Correct.
Above everything else.
Yeah. And that's something that, what me and Rec have learned. And I'm going to throw Brad in there, Bebonics. What up, Bebonics? And, we came up with strategies and we talked about, okay, our goal to get people down in the city was more of a challenge than anything because people listening to the podcast, I live about 40 minutes outside of downtown. All right. And that's pretty much, I've been outside. I lived in the city when growing up, moved to the suburbs, and I'm, going to the gigs. It's 30 minutes out. And obviously when you live in the burbs, you have friends in the burbs that lived in the burbs their whole life. Now, think about that. Rural, suburban kids going to a big city. Yeah. They don't want to do it. You got to sell them on something to get them out there. So what do? Hey, what are you talking about? Well, my watch is trying to get involved in this conversation. She said she doesn't understand that.
I'm really impressed because I muted all my stuff. I'm like, this is going to be embarrassing if my phone starts going off.
I'm going to have to turn off my watch. My watch. The government's listening, by the way, everybody.
I have no other word but bougie. It's just like it's bougie.
It's so bad because
it's not about the music anymore. It's not about the party for people anymore. It's all about how many chicks I can get numbers from. How do I look to people?
Yep.
And it's and the owners are just like, how do I get the cheapest entertainment possible? It's just, listen, I always tell everybody, you'll never hear G complain or cry about the situation right now. It's funny because when I go out to clubs, either it's my girlfriend or whoever's with me, they'll see me analyzing the DJing, and I'll be the first one. And I'm just there. I could be there just for and they don't know who I am. They don't know I'm even there. And I'll be in South Florida, and I'll just watch a DJ, and I'll be watching these guys, and I just get so aggravated sometimes. And it's just like, I'll walk up to them like, bro, take the auto sync off. Take the auto sync off, please. Just blend, bro. Just blend. I'm not a purist, man. I'm not into the, you got to have vinyl. I mean, listen, when you had decks, when you had CDs, you had to get the pitch control, right? You still had a blend.
Yeah.
You still had a blend, whether it was CDs. I don't care if it's CDs. I don't care if it's jump drives. You still got to blend.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, man. Listen, the club industry has evolved, and you know what? I don't want to be the guy that is like, oh, he's just ancient and he's pissed off. I'm not that guy. At the end of the day, I understand things evolve. What I would reach out and tell the young people that are coming up today is like, it's not about, yes, you have the technology available to you to be able to do these things, but at some point you still want to learn the craft.
Correct.
And it's the craft.
And I agree, the craft starts with one of two things, because you got two sides of everything. You have the production side. If you just want to be an actual audio engineer, producer, awesome. If you want to be a DJ only, awesome. But learn the craft of both, where it started, and appreciate it. And that's one thing, going back to the Brad story and everything, how we all talked about trying to get people into buzz. Yeah. I let off there for some odd reason. The G-bombs. I'm blaming the G-bombs. But anywho.
Most people do. Don't worry.
I was waiting for the...
You're good, Rob. Most people do. Yeah.
Shit.
You're behind.
I'm behind. So, no, I mean, what we did, we strategized. We tried bringing people in by flyering. Hey, we'll carpool. Hey, why don't you guys do this? Hey, we got a VIP. If you guys bring 5 people carpool and say you're carpooling, we'll give you this deal on this bottle.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And, when we went on, I'll never forget the first day I went on that Buzz, before we exit Buzz here on that story. The best story I ever had was when I went on after Terry. And that was phenomenal. I was looking for my fucking record, Teenage Wasteland, the remix she did, and she told me that it was a white label and there was only like 226 ever made, and I have one of them. She goes, I can't believe you have one of them. I go, I fucking do. I got it the first day, and I think I got it at Super Dance or Mix-a-Lots. It was one of the two, and I think it was Super Dance because I had a
Super
bin
Dance,
there.
yeah.
I had a bin there, and it was right next to Bad Boy Bill. Me and Rec, asked Rec that story.
Yeah.
We had our own holding bin. And
Super Dance or Hot Jams, man.
Had to be.
That's the spot.
Yeah.
Those were the spots. Hot Jams, Super Dance for the South Side.
Yeah.
If you went downtown, it's Import Records.
And,
Gramophone.
Gramophone, another level.
Yep.
So I mean, there's a lot of awesome spots, and that's what I miss doing. To be honest with you, I miss record shopping. All my records are in that storage to your left there, and I tell you what, I want to go through those records, but I don't because I'm going to be like, I want to fucking play right now.
Yeah,
and I don't have no tables. I mean, that's the problem.
And listen, man, a lot of people
I don't have my tables no more
because I've been in the game so long. A lot of people are surprised to hear me step on the soapbox about this, but I get it, man. Like, listen. The industry evolves, technology evolves, okay? And you have to evolve with it, right? And so I got to be honest, I don't hate the technology. I love the technology, right? I am appreciative that I don't have to carry 10 crates of records with me when I go do a show.
Yeah.
When I'm touring, I don't have to bring all these records and stow them, you know what I mean? So for me, I embrace that part of the technology. I'm okay. I appreciate the fact that I can throw my whole discography and all of my mixes on a jump drive and have backup jump drives, and I can just plug in with some CDJs and go crazy.
Yes.
But there's a crossing point, right? There's a point where when do you need to stop with the technology and still allow the craft to take over, right?
I'm glad you bring that up because what really, gets me a lot. I mean, I have friends, and shout out to Brian S., by the way. I'm going to be getting to some shout outs here later. Me and G have some shout outs to give, but I want to give a shout out to Brian S. because this story relates to him. Me and him are on WhatsApp. And if you guys don't have WhatsApp out there, I highly recommend getting it because it's great for business. It's worldwide. It's global. So no matter where you are in the world, you don't have to worry about paying for anything. And this is not a WhatsApp commercial, but WhatsApp, if you're listening, I got you. But no, seriously, me and Brian do voice notes, and it's easier because if you don't like talking on the phone, but you want to get your point across, and you need some, whether it's a business thing, yo, G, what's up? Hey, man, thinking about coming down to Miami, which we're going to talk about later as well. We're going to come down to Miami, going to the Winter Music Conference. I have an idea for this, and this, and this. Hit me back up and let me know what you think. And by the way, here's a video and the document I was talking about. Boom, all in one shot.
Yep.
Now it's everywhere. You can group. You can group video chat with everybody for business meetings. You can send group voice notes. If you don't have this tool, if you don't have it, download that shit now. But I know
this ad paid for by WhatsApp. Like that? That's my radio voice.
Right. Do it one more time.
This ad paid for by WhatsApp.
So yeah. Anyways,
and I use WhatsApp for another. It's not encrypted, so
exactly.
Be shady.
Yep. Right. That's what I mean, man. Cheers.
Salud.
Salud. There it is. So you guys are probably hearing a lot of this. You're hearing a lot of this. If you hear any of that, that's because we're getting into the story. Hearing a lot of that. That's what we do here on the House Jack City podcast.
That's when Rob's not keeping up with the GCP.
Oh, hey, you here with the DB?
Yeah, there it is. Dr. Bass is in the house.
There it is. But yeah, I mean, getting, like I said, we're getting deep into the industry right now, and that Buzz story going back is when I went on after Terry Bristol, Teenage Wasteland. I didn't have the record that day. I don't know why. I didn't bring that crate. I'm so fucking pissed.
Well, that was a problem, right?
It was a problem. She wanted to sign it. She just signed it. We're going to take a picture. It was going to be like, holy shit, I was one of 226 people in the world that have that record. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And go shit. And shit you not, she played it. She had 2 more tracks to go. She played it for me. And I went in from that. So, I mean... After I got
Terry's, I can tell you, Terry's, I've worked with her for many years. I worked with Psycho Bitch for many years.
Yeah.
Because because Georgie managed them, and he managed me and Todd Miner together. So he managed all of us.
Shout out to Todd Miner, by the way.
My brother. We'll get into Todd Miner later, and I can't tell you what that guy did for my career. But that being said, Terry is the most gentle, down to earth person in the world. She sure
is, man.
And she is the greatest. I mean, I did radio podcasts actually many, many years ago. When Terry and I first got coupled up with Music Plant Records, we went on this radio tour together and kind of did all these, podcast radios and internet radio stations, and then celestial radio stations, and we just kind of promoted our new partnership.
Sure.
And she was, just like you understand, like I was the same way. When I look at Terry Bristol and Psycho Bitch, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like
fucking Crowbar, man.
It's Crowbar, dude. Yeah. It's like, And so, when we got paired up and we started doing these things like Buzz, it was like you really got to see the human side. And, she was always very, forthright with advice, and she was very understanding about where I wanted to go, and she saw my vision. And sometimes the vision where I wanted to go with it, she had played a track and I'm taking over and I want to go to a different direction. She would ask me, why are you doing that? And I would give her my input, and she'd be like, oh, I get it. So she was always open to, just as much as I was open to learning from her.
Sure.
She was open to understanding where my vision was and like, oh, I know where he's going. I got that. Okay, that's a good vibe. So she was really great. So
Terry, she's always been sweet to me. She's always responded back to me on any of my Facebook, even back in the day, MySpace. I mean, back in the fucking day, man. Like MySpace.
I was 12.
He was 12.
I want to just keep reiterating I was 12.
If you were 12, I wasn't born
All
yet.
4 of my kids are going to be listening to this going, God, Dad, you're so old. Stop.
See, another thing, too, that people need to know is that, G's family to me. Like Nico, shout out to Nico. He couldn't be here today because
he should have been here.
His motherfucking ass is sleeping.
Yeah, he should have been here.
Okay, yeah. I said, are you coming over? He goes,
if he needed money, he'd have been here.
Nico, fuck you, man, for not being here, you dick.
If he needed money and he knew his old man was here, he would have been here.
He's here in spirit, though. He's in the background laying on the floor sleeping, too. So it would have been either way. He would have been sleeping if he was here anyways. Right, Nico? You damn right, because I would have had a comfy couch for you over there with the damn Blackhawks blanket. You would have been passed out snoring.
And plenty of whiskey.
Yeah,
he would have loved that.
And some permanent marker on your face.
There it is.
So I got on with Terry, or after Terry, I should say, and I was happy, man. She played Teenage Wasteland. I get on, I'm playing. The crowd's going crazy, and I'm like, this is fucking great. My first time ever on. First time ever. Psycho Bitch, probably about 5-6 minutes into my set, comes up, spits on her hand, and fucking grabs my ass and says, "Ugh, you got a nice ass for a male, motherfucker."
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Psycho
That sounds
bitch.
about right.
Psycho Bitch, if you're listening, and I hope G hits you up on this, just going to give one out there. What's up, motherfuckers? I almost said the other one.
No, that's it, man.
Yep.
That's it. That
up,
was her tagline.
That
was her tagline. That was her
Psycho
tagline.
Bitch. I almost fucked that shit up in the beginning, though. Hey, once again, G-bombs. Can I get that little tingle again?
Yeah.
Little tingle.
I'm empty. I'm filling up. You're not doing too bad tonight. You're not doing too bad.
I'm doing too bad.
Yeah. I mean, back in the Karma days, dude, I would go and see Terry and Psycho DJing, and it was an incredible show, man. It was incredible. I'm
gonna refill my G, my little G.
Okay, you do yours, and then I'm gonna do mine. Karma was incredible, man. I got to see her DJing with Terry and Psycho, and I saw that magic between them two. And then I've gone to Crowbar when they reopened and saw Todd Miner DJ with Terry and Psycho, and that's where Todd and I really got introduced together. So, it was a great time, man. Those were good times back then, But you got to move forward, You got to move forward, and you got to keep. It's all about evolution. You can't live in the past. I tell DJs that all the time. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm not where I'm at with a certain label anymore, because for me, I wanted to keep pushing to what was the future, what was new, what was going on, I'm
back. I just refilled.
Did you see that fill I just did for you?
Whew.
Did you see that film I
Yes, I
just
love
did
it,
for
man.
you?
You did great. I was still rushing though. I want to make sure.
Good thing you could do post production on this interview.
No, man, this is live, uncut, unfiltered, baby. I gotta stick with it. This is what podcasts are all about. This is what it should be.
This is what it should be. Yeah.
You know, all right, I'm not gonna make you toot my horn real quick, but you said some off the air that you want to see from me, and what is that? You want me to be based off of what other podcaster?
You know,
I
I got to tell you, the one thing. Listen, first of all, the reason why I'm doing this is because I got a call from an old friend, right? And Rob and I go way back, and so one thing about me that people know is, you know, I'm always there for my people. You know,
he is 100% out of anyone I know,
and you know. That's just the way I've always been. That's the way my father raised me. You know, you always look out for other people because at the end of the day, one day you're going to need them, and you never know. You never know. They'll remember the good things you did for them. So first and foremost, you know, Rob's a friend of mine, and so when he called me and asked me, I want to do this. The other thing I love about Rob is that, you know, and I'm just not trying to stroke the guy right now because I'm in his basement drinking G-bombs. Although this is like some weird video we could be doing right now. The reality of it is, man, you know, he's very passionate about, you know, I used to watch you DJ. I used to watch actually Rec and all you guys, man. You know, all you guys were Bebonics. All you guys were very passionate about what you guys did. That's why I loved you guys from Structure Music. I saw the passion in all three of you. And, you know, when I talked about, you know, when Rob called me and talked to me about this, I could hear the passion in his voice about doing this podcast. And I said to him, I said, dude, you know, I'm an avid Joe Rogan podcast watcher. I love that guy. He's batshit crazy, and that's why I love him, you know. But he speaks the reality of life. And I told him, I said, dude, you could be the Joe Rogan of dance music. You really could. Because there really isn't anywhere where artists can come and just put it out there, you know, and talk about the truth.
Yes, absolutely.
Not about what the fluff is.
Sure.
But the truth.
Yes.
Everything from, you know, let's keep it real, guys. Anybody that's in the business knows, listen, I'm sending you shots of me in, you know, California, and I'm taking selfies, but really I'm sleeping in a hotel room, you know, eating dinner in the hotel room. It's a rough life touring. Yeah. It's not easy. And these podcasts, you know, especially the angle that Rob's taking, which I appreciate, is, gee, I don't want to talk about the fluff. I want to talk about the reality of it. I want to talk about the reality of the business. I want to talk about, you know, the pitfalls and
be yourself.
Yeah.
Basically.
And the things where a new artist or a new DJ getting into the business really falls into, and how that can affect them. And they have to be prepared for those things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a complainer. I'm very blessed to have met the people I've met and been introduced into the business because of the people I met. But you have to understand that, you know, there are pitfalls. It's not the glam and glory.
Sure. And that's another thing we're going to talk about for newcomers.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'll tell people, like, I've been in relationships, and they'll see my posts. I'm like, listen, you got to understand, part of this business, it's smoke and mirrors. And that's the truth of it, man. That's the reality of it. You're selling a brand, you're selling an image. And so, not a lot of artists will talk about this. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because I got mine. So I'll tell the truth. And the truth is, it is smoke and mirrors, man. You've got to promote yourself as this certain lifestyle. And sometimes it's a snake. It'll turn and bite you, For
sure.
I've gone through a lot of personal things because of the lifestyle.
Sure.
But the reality of it is, it's all driven by the passion, right? So the passion for music and the passion of the art. And, a lot of people need to remember that. When you want to be an actor, I just saw the Judy Garland movie, actually. It was pretty incredible,
Mm-hmm.
As a young actress, she was put through so much as a child star. But there was one scene where, Mayer says to her, the head of the studio says to her, like literally had her backstage on the Wizard of Oz set by herself and said, I was there when you accepted this. You knew what you were getting into.
Sure.
And so I like really connected with that. It's like, you know what you're getting into. So don't play stupid, don't play dumb.
Yeah.
You know the sacrifices that come with it, but it's all driven by the passion, right? So
Correct,
she wanted to act. She wanted to be a star. That was her passion. That was her drive.
And she didn't let nobody stop her.
No.
Nobody.
And she did what she had to do.
Of course. A lot of sacrifice.
Oh, my God.
Big
yeah.
word, sacrifice. Can you sacrifice?
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. I mean, at the end of the day, but is it driven by passion? And that's what I think a lot of artists and DJs really need to connect with these days.
Some people don't understand what sacrifice means. They can go down 3 different doorways and open up all the doors and still not understand, but it's actually the door behind them they should have went through.
Correct. Yeah. And you know what? It is what it is, man. I don't judge today's up and comers. I just look at how they perform and the shows that they do, and I'll judge them on their performance.
Correct. Can't judge passion.
Yeah, you can't judge passion, but at the end of the day, it's, if you're going to get into this business, you have to have the passion. You have to want it. Whether that's, DJing, a music producer, or a podcaster, it doesn't matter. You got to have the passion.
And I really appreciate, you complimenting me and recognizing me as someone that could be the next Joe Rogan of the electronic dance music scene.
I'm going to take another
EDM.
G-bomb. I'm going to make another
Hold
G-bomb
on.
while you're doing this.
EDM or electronic dance music, tell me there's a difference. When someone says to you, hey man, I like electronic dance music, and then you have that other person that comes up and says, I like EDM. Please tell everybody there's a difference of that verbiage and language when it comes to the electronic music industry.
I'm going to make this very simple for everybody, and this is just my personal take on this.
Please.
This
Here,
is just my
while you
personal
say
take.
this, I'll make your drink for you.
Okay, all right. I will say this. The simplicity of it is this. I've been in this game for so long. I have seen genres come and re-be over. Like, I have seen high energy dance music. I have seen disco. I have seen deep house. I have seen soulful house. I have seen progressive. I have seen turn it into EDM. It's just music, guys. Let me not bust your bubbles right now. It's just music. Stop worrying about the classification or the genre of it. It's just a vibe, right? So whether the vibe is a more soulful house vibe, or whether the vibe is an EDM, or we call it EDM today, but tomorrow maybe progressive again, or progressive unlimited, God knows what tag they'll put on it.
Yep.
It's just the vibe of music that's really rolling right now. But it's all, and I'll tell you, Todd Miner taught me this. We had so many good conversations. We'll get into those later. But Todd Miner once told me, "Gee, I don't give a shit what you call it. It's drum and bass, motherfucker. It's drums and bass. Drums and bass drive the track, and that's what it is. And you can give it any title you fucking want, but it's drums and bass. Now you lay on a good vocal track." Then that could be an EDM record, or it could be a progressive record, or it could be a house record. It doesn't matter. It's how the track flows. But it's just drums and bass, and that's what drives it.
For sure.
And if you look at all the hit records, man, to this date, you go back and listen to anything. I don't care if you listen to Michael Jackson. If you look at Michael Jackson right now, and you pull up Billie Jean, what is
Billie
it?
Jean.
But it's not even about the vocal.
Yeah.
Drums and bass. It's drums and bass.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's drum and bass.
Yep.
It's just drum and bass, bro.
It's true.
It's just Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, I got to work with Billy Myers, who produced Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, he told
Shout out to
Bill Myers. And we'll get into that too. That's another great story that I've been very blessed to be.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
But it's just, it's all drum and bass. It's all the musicality of it,
And before you continue, for those people wondering, like, who the hell is he? Right now, while you're waiting and you're listening, if you can multitask and listen, where can they look him up at?
Bill Myers Music.
Look him up right now. The
be
first
impressed.
paragraph, you're going to get mind blown. And tell them a little teaser before we get there.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, Capitol Records, Michael Jackson. Look him up. He's the guy.
Madonna.
He was the lead crew. Yeah, he toured with Madonna on Into the Groove tour.
Madonna.
He did Live Aid. It was incredible.
Live Aid. We all know Live
I'll be
Aid.
right back. Keep me going.
All right, so he told me some crazy shit when it comes to Bill Myers music, right? So overall, when I went to Bill Myers music, I looked up. I'm like, look at all these freaking artists. He had a story about a lot of these freaking artists that he worked with, and G will talk about Capitol Records here shortly. But while he's out the room for a minute, I want to let everyone know what we got coming up here in the show. We are definitely going to talk about how the G-bombs were made. We got some more deep industry stories to talk about, more advice for you newcomers. We're going to have a whole segment about newcomers, what you all should look out for, what you should do, how you should promote, and you might need to spend some money to get out there. So remember that. Keep that in mind. Also, we have a sign a contract segment. Make sure to stay tuned for that, what to look out for, how to read a contract, how to do a contract. We will get into that. And then good old G is going to talk about his label. And he's going to be talking about what demos he's going to be looking for, what, don't suck. And he might become a friend and family member of G. You never know.
There it is. You never know. And then later in the show, if we have time, which, there ain't no time limit on this podcast. Joe Rogan will have a time limit. Why should I? Never is. Hey,
right?
You got a full bottle. You got a full bottle over there. We're good.
we put a big dent in it too.
We did.
Yeah, big one. Would you rather?
Oh God.
I'm gonna need a
couple more of those.
If you're just tuning in, I don't know why you would skip ahead in this podcast, but if you're just tuning in, would you rather? And we're not talking about who would you rather have sex with. So let's.
Why is that always associated with me?
I know, right? So, why? You know what? Before we get into the next segment, because I want to get into influencers, and let's go from the long road from then to now. How do you handle adversity? Coming up next here on the House Jack City podcast, Backstage. Then we're going to talk about G-bombs, how they were made. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. We got an awesome show for you guys. Like, we're only. I'm going to give you about 4 hours.
I'm going to give you about 4 hours of content. Just go with it.
I'll tell you what, man, we got this.
I want your first show to be the good show, man.
This is.
I want to set the bar for everybody else.
You damn right. You're damn right. And then when I'm at the Grammys and accepting my Oscar and everything else, you guys will be up there. Make sure that GCP is announcing me on stage.
I'll do the entrance music for you. I'll produce it.
Please. I want that. I can't wait. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about influencers. How did overall did GCP become GCP? Who influenced you throughout your career and of now? I think you already talked about Terry. Terry's one of them. Psycho Bitch, Georgie.
Yeah.
Todd. So how?
Well, I'll tell you.
Let's talk about GCP's influencers.
The interest. Here's the interesting story that I tell people that the biggest question I get when I'm on tour is, how did you get into music? How did you get into the business? And it's a pretty funny story, actually. So literally, I was a kid in high school that I was a big geek. Mm-hmm. The girls wouldn't talk to me, and I loved the girls, and the girls didn't love me. And that's the truth.
GCP has a heart.
Yeah,
Everyone should love a heart.
I tried that. That wasn't working too, because before then it wasn't GCP yet. So, and so I started going to places to meet girls in high school, and one of the places, and actually I grew up in Tinley Park, and one of the
Tinley Park, Illinois.
Yep, and then one of the places that everybody hung out on Saturday was the Tinley Park roller rink.
Roller rinks, man.
Yeah. Now I'm showing my age. I probably shouldn't. I
probably
shouldn't be going down this road.
Wreck, you all know this. You know where I'm coming
I got
from.
new records to sell. I probably should be going down this road, but for you, brother, I'm going to do this. So I would go to the roller rink, and back in that time, celestial radio, you didn't have XM, you didn't have Sirius. Most white American kids were listening to WLS or the rock station. Most of it was top 40 rock, right? So when I went to the roller rink, I started hearing music I had never heard before. I heard, A Rapper's Delight. I heard Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. I heard the Gap Band. I heard Earth, Wind & Fire, September. And I heard these long extended dance versions, and I was like, my God, what is this music? I've never heard anything like it. So here I am trying to pick up chicks, but I really got exposed to this music that I had never heard before. And so I went up to the DJ and I was like, hey man, I really need, like, what is this stuff? I know this sounds crazy. And he basically was like, oh, look, this is this 12-inch maxi single, and this is the... I said, where do I buy these things? Now, for the young kids listening, back in the day, there was this thing called a record store. Probably may not know what that is. Record store. And it was in your mall.
Near you.
Yes. And you would go in the record store, and there was a section called 12-inch dance singles.
12-inch, not what you think.
Yes, not what you think. And so as a kid, I went in there, and I started looking at these records, and I started, with my little Peasley, allowance I had and whatever money I could scrape together.
$1 a week?
Yeah, I would start buying these dance records.
So it took you 12 weeks to get one record.
Well, I partnered up with my buddy Kevin Purdy, who he was into it too. He was there and he was into it. So we started buying. So I bought a couple records one week. He bought a couple records one week.
Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin.
Shout out Kevin.
Kevin Purdy, Shinley Park alumni. So we started this little, and by the time, maybe in about 4 months, we had a little milk crate going. You know how that goes, bass. Crate.
Oh yeah, the ones that like to break off, like when you put too many records in, and then you're like,
the handles break,
Yep.
and then your girlfriend's complaining because you got making her carry crates that are cutting into her hand.
Did you ever step on any of your records when they break out of that milk crate? Do you ever step? I stepped.
They never broke out of the bottom.
I never broke
for me.
any.
I always broke the handles.
I stepped on them.
I always broke the handles.
Okay.
I never broke the crate themselves.
Oh, the crate itself broke. And when you should probably change your records when the crate is black, but then it turns really white.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to crack.
Yeah, it's
what I'm talking about with that good old plastic.
It's getting fatigued.
Yep, and that's what I mean. And yeah, that should happen.
So anyway, I started my little record collection, and there was another place I hung out. It was called, okay, I'm going to take all you Southside people back to it. It's called Jukebox Saturday Night. It was in Oak Forest, Illinois. And I used to go there.
He was only 12, everybody.
I was only 12. Remember, I lied about my age to get in there. So this was the hot spot where all the high schools, Oak Forest High School, Tinley Park, this is a hot spot where everybody came on a Sunday night for teen night. Mm-hmm. So I had to be there, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to, I'm a freshman in high school trying to pick up chicks. And so I'm trying to learn it, so I'm like hanging out, thinking I'm cool, a little fedora on. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I'm out of my mind.
Huh?
I'm out of my mind. And so one night I show up and the bouncer's DJing. And he's playing the most horrific music I ever heard.
The bouncer's DJing.
The bouncer is DJing.
The DJ didn't show up. He's like,
DJ wasn't there.
Hey, we need you to go up there and play some music.
And might I add, the DJ's name, this is going to be epic.
DJ Bouncer?
Nope. You ready?
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna hear bass laugh right now.
Oh,
ready? The DJ's name was Jammin' G. No.
What was it?
Exactly. I knew you would appreciate that.
No.
Yes, that's where the G came from.
No.
Yes, that is where the G came from. Not everybody knows that story. I'm actually telling this for the first time because
House Jack City Backstage exclusive.
It is really because I have a couple G bombs in me, and I've never told this story publicly on a radio station. So for you, I'd do this.
You heard it first here on the House Jack City podcast. Backstage once again.
So
brought to you by WhatsApp.
So yeah, exactly, and Red Bull now. We're gonna get Red Bull. So I go up to the DJ booth and I know the guy and I go, Tiny, what are you doing, man? This is horrendous. There's like 700 kids here and they're already like booing you. He goes, Gino quit. He took all the records and all I got is these 4.
Gino quit.
And all I got is these 4 albums. So I'm looking, he's got like the Grease album. He's got, yeah, dude. It's like, dude, you cannot play the Grease album and the Saturday Night Fever album. You cannot play this for this crowd. So I tell him, I said, Tiny, look, I got a little collection. I live 10 minutes from here. I can go get my little milk crate and I'll bring it to you. And you can use my records.
No shit.
He said, if you do that, I will get you a free cover for a year.
No shit.
Okay, I'm in. I'm a teenage kid.
And how much was it when you were
I think it
12?
was $5. I think it was $5 to get in.
$5 to get in. That was a lot of money when
So
you
it
were
was
12.
$5. You know, I'm going to say $5. And
No,
I'm gonna be,
$5 is $5.
But
I'm
listen,
sorry. Who wants to
but
pay
Bass,
to get
you know
in?
how it goes, man.
Yeah.
You can
I know.
you can walk in and not pay cover, and
Oh,
the chicks
you know
are like,
that.
"Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
not paying.
Who the fuck
cover.
is this guy?
You're not paying cover.
Good old guy. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. So that was my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I go home in my little Plymouth Grand Fury. You know, I drive
Plymouth.
home. I get my little mid crate. My father goes, "What are you doing?"
Driving when he's 12, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, I was
Ladies and
driving
gentlemen.
with 12. I said, I gotta go bring these records to the club. You're out of your mind. My father was like, you're out of your mind. What are you doing? Whatever. Be home by 12. Okay. So I go to the club. So I start picking out records for Tiny to play. I'm like, play track 2, play track 3. Here's, you know, I'm pulling out AEIOU. I'm playing out, dude, I'm pulling out like Shalimar. I'm playing out stuff that like nobody's, you know, he has no idea what that is.
Finally.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm playing all that stuff. So I'm giving him, and he finally says to me, he's like, dude, why don't I just teach you how to run the board
And then you
and you play the music,
just do it.
and then I can go back to bouncing.
And then GCP was born.
And I was like, okay. So he showed me, and G was not born yet. G was running the board, and then he came up to me and he handed me a piece of paper and he said, hey, I need you to make an announcement that this car, this license plate left their lights on. I said, okay, how do I do that? And he said, here's the microphone. And anybody that knows me knows, oh, now this makes sense. So he says, make this announcement. So I get on the microphone. He shows me how to turn the mic up, and I make this announcement. You know, this license plate, your lights are on.
Yeah.
And at that point, dude, it seemed like the whole club froze. And every hot chick in the bar was looking at me. For the first time in my life, everybody was paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment I said, I got to be G. I got to be Jammin' G for Gino. And then it was Jammin' G at first. And then when I signed with Georgie, he's like, we got to get rid of the Jammin' thing. That's like 1970 stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring your name into it, Cavelle. And we're going to call. And I said, well, I still love G. You know, everybody knows me as G. I was G before it was cool being G.
Sure,
I was before Dre was G.
I only know you as G.
Yeah. Listen,
That's
I tell
it.
everybody.
I mean, I know who you are, but
Yeah.
I only know you as
No,
G.
it's funny because people always say your name is George, and I say yeah, but only the police, my ex-wives, or my mother when she was mad at me would call me George. So
Like
I
I'm
don't-
called Robert,
So I don't
Kyle,
listen. Yeah, I don't
you
listen to
bastard.
any. Yeah, I don't listen to any
Yeah.
of it. So when I hear George, I just run away.
Yeah.
So, but the reality of it is that's how it started, man. I mean, it started with just me trying to be, you know, noticed, but I grew to be passionate and fall in love with the music.
Yeah.
And that's where it started, that passion. And then from there, you know, I went and bought my first DJ gear, and I literally locked myself in my room for 7-8 months. I remember doing it, man. And I just took those 1200s and I just taught myself how to blend and how to put records. And then it's just not about blending, it's about
Yeah.
programming,
Oh, for
right?
sure, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the next part, you know. So, you know, I just kind of hold my craft, man, for a long time, and then, you know, did a lot of Southside jobs for free and paid my dues, and then it just kind of started taking off from there. So
You said something very important just a second ago. Pay your dues.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something that needs to be talked about to newcomers. And I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. So people need to understand, in this industry, on this podcast, you can't stick with one story without having a sub story.
For sure.
So you're going to hear a lot of sub stories then going back to the main story. So remember that, because this industry is fast paced, always has been fast paced, and there's so much to talk about that I don't want to leave out any content for everyone that's backstage. VIP access right now. Once again, here on the House Jack City podcast. I'm your host, Rob Eggers, Dr. Bass, as people know me, here with G. Cavelle from the G. Cavelle Project. GLR Records just launched, baby. We're going to talk about that here on the show later. And we got a lot of time here left. We're only on the almost hour mark here, and we
Here
have
we
a
go.
lot of fucking good content.
you're going to have a
here,
lot
man.
of stock. You can
I'd
actually
say-
do 2 shows out of this interview.
I probably could. Part 1 and part 2. I like that. Thank you. Let's go 4 hours so I can take a fucking vacation.
I'll come back tomorrow. We'll finish up.
I mean, I got Miami coming. I want to talk about that too.
Yeah,
so
for sure, man.
I got to make sure I write that shit down. I'm going to put that on the top here so you guys can hear this. Miami. You hear the pen writing right now. It's real. Miami circled. And I need to say talk for sure. Faux show.
Faux show.
Faux show.
As G would say. Faux show.
Faux show. So, newcomers, please stay tuned in. And if you haven't already, share. And also, if you have not already, okay, another thing I want to talk about newcomers, I'm going to do this right now, this little read. So when you network on Facebook, Instagram, I highly recommend everybody, okay, because it's more of a artist, musician-based thing. Make sure you follow me on Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and Instagram at Dr. Bass Music. You can listen to all the previous Mix Show podcasts on SoundCloud and Mixcloud. Also, make sure to follow the Facebook page at the House Jack City Podcast. I will be posting videos here soon. I post pregame, postgame, mix shows, teasers, everything on the Facebook. And when I start getting booked at other places, I will have deals for everyone that is following the page. So make sure to follow my Facebook page. I want to give a huge shout out to Audio Hive Podcasting. The owner is Brian McKender, runs a professional podcasting studio with live streaming compatibilities with all the equipment you'll ever need to run a podcast. For more info, hit up Brian at 815-603-5176 or by email at brian@audiohivepodcasting.com. I was just there yesterday, and gee, let me tell you, This podcasting studio he made is genius. Like, no one else is doing it right now in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
As hardcore as he's doing it, he has everything set up for you, and it's reasonable pricing. And for what we're doing here is just more of an audio podcast. But I want to let everyone know right now, in the future, within the next few podcasts, I will be having live, and I mean live, content for everybody, unfiltered, be broadcast live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And please, I know I don't have a YouTube page active as of yet, but I'm working on it. I just want to make sure that everything is copacetic and professional, and I will have that up soon. So please be patient on the YouTube channel, because I know everyone loves YouTube. I love YouTube. I go to YouTube.
I love YouTube too.
I love YouTube.
I watch all my Joe Rogan podcasts.
That's what
on
I mean. YouTube. You have to have YouTube. So YouTube is coming soon. And make sure to hit up Brian. He's an awesome guy. He's very responsive. Hit him back. Very reasonable. Great studio. He will give you a free consultation. You can come in, check out the studio. No charge to you, just for checking it out. So, shout out to Brian at Audio Hive. Thank you. It was a good time. Oh, I know. I got to make a drink.
Is empty. That's the GCP.
It's empty. Had to do the shout outs. Hey, go ahead, G. Give out some shout outs. I know you want to shout out a few people, including Todd Miner.
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to my brother Todd Miner. I miss him. We had a great run together, and he was a great mentor to me. And I can't. There's not enough love in my heart to give for that guy. Corey Johnson out in Michigan, my new promotional manager. He's helping me head up the new label, and we got that going on. So and then all my kids that are in Chi-Town here sleeping that should have been here. Nico.
Yeah, shout out to Nico.
Dickhead. Well, last time he was out with me, he got in trouble with his wife, so,
Well, I did too.
This happens when Dad comes into town. Nico, your father's here. Love you, Turtle.
So let's get into. All right, I'm off mic. Hold on. True podcast.
He's off mic. He's making a G-bomb. God bless him. He's holding strong. That's what I love about bass. He holds strong.
I always hold strong, baby. You know that. Always. So, all right. Let's see here. What we got going on here? Let me get the pages out here. We got newcomers advice coming up. You know what? We're getting right into. Speaking of G-bombs, just made one. What the hell? How the hell were G-bombs made, and why are they worldwide right now, baby?
I'll tell you.
Everywhere we go, hey, can I get a G-bomb? Someone's like, what's in that? Oh, I heard of that before. Yeah, it's called a G-bomb.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how this has taken off. So, I was working at a club on the south side on 127th and Cicero, I think it was. The old upstairs lounge. There was Rain nightclub. It was upstairs. It was graffiti. It was right above the right above the ice rink there. I think it was Crestwood. I think.
Crestwood, wasn't it Eclipse at one point?
It was Eclipse too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I DJed there for a while.
Actually, Eclipse. Yes,
Yeah.
it was. I think it was when it was Eclipse is when this happened.
Yeah,
So
Structured Music was there for probably about a year.
Yeah, there was a bartender manager, Candace, who I got done doing my set, and I came back and they had another. I think either Xavier was going up or somebody else was going up, and I came back and she's like, "Hey, do you got a shot you like?" I said, "Well, yeah." She's like, "You don't have your own shots?" And that's when I had just released my first CD.
Yeah,
I just released it, and actually I was promoting it at Eclipse. And I said, "What do you mean, do I have my own shot?" She's like, "Well, you got your own CD out. You should have your own shot." I said, "Well, I don't have my own shot." She says, "Well, what do you like to drink?" And at the time, Bacardi O was out. I used to like O-Bombs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember O-Bombs?
Oh, yeah.
You're showing your age, bro.
I mean,
By
I
the
was
way,
only 12
just for the
when I had my
record,
first
we
O-Bomb.
were having O-Bombs in our baby bottles because we were
That's
that
right.
young.
Sucking on them nipple titties. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Them nipple titties.
So she said, "Well, how do we turn an O-Bomb into a G-Bomb?" So she poured the O-Bombs, and we had tried anything behind the bar that started with a G. And she had tried a couple things, and they were nasty. And then she said, "Oh, grenadine. Let's try grenadine." And the first time it was a lot of grenadine. It was just nasty. I'm like, "Oh, that's nasty." She's like, "Okay." And right at that same time, remember the Chef Emerald?
Oh, my God.
Where he would go, bam, bam.
Yeah.
That was huge then. She goes, "Maybe we need to do like the Emerald thing, just a bam of grenadine." So I said, "Okay, let's do that." So she made 3 O-Bombs, and she just went bam, 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 bam. And I tasted it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the shit right there."
Yeah.
And so that night, the owner did a G-Bomb special, and they were handing out O-Bombs with just dashes of grenadine.
That's how I think I was introduced.
I think you were.
And that was phenomenal. And then
they
the
sold
G-Bomb
out. They went out. So then then we fast forward to Buzz. When I went to Buzz, we started G-Bombs there. I carried it there. The funny thing about it is the owner, Frankie, came to us. Good old Frankie. Came to us and said, "Dude, the liquor supplier just came to me and said, how in the fuck have you gone through so many cases of Bacardi Orange in the last 4 weeks?" And Frankie said, "G-Bombs."
G-Bombs, baby.
And so from that point, the rep got involved, and then Red Bull at one point actually sponsored a couple shows of mine because I was sponsoring G-Bombs. That's why I have a Red Bull fridge in my apartment in South Florida right now, official Red Bull fridge.
Can't wait to see it.
And dude, so that just kind of took off that way. And then so wherever I go, no matter what show I'm doing, I introduce the G-Bomb, and people love them. You know, I mean, it's funny. My promotional manager, he used to live in South Florida, but he moved back to Michigan. And I introduced him to the G-Bomb, and now he called me from Michigan, just like, "Okay, what's in a G-Bomb again?" Because I've got like 30 people that want to do one.
Wow.
And so they're drinking G-Bombs in Michigan right now.
See, that's what I mean. Worldwide. Now, I had a drink. A similar situation. And no, he's actually drinking the drink. I'm not behind, so people know that. He's drinking the drink. You heard the ice. Just want to clarify that real quick. So good, man. So good. So if you hear any,
So
slurring
deadly.
or blah, 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 going on the podcast, it's all about the G-Bombs, baby. Remember that.
But let me say medically, because you are a doctor.
I am.
And you can verify
Yes,
this.
Dr. Abase.
And actually, many doctors have verified this for me.
Yes.
So the beautiful thing about the G-Bomb is the Bacardi Limon or Tangerine, if you're lucky,
Right behind me, by the way.
brings your metabolism down, your heart rate down. You want to go to bed. But the Red Bull comes right back and jacks it right back up.
Yeah, but it's sugar-free.
So you're, and it's sugar-free. Yeah, because we're trying to watch our weight.
Yep.
And so...
I'm trying to watch my figure for sure.
And so you can go all night. You're good. Mm-hmm. Don't believe all those stories you hear about.
No, yeah, exactly. But where was I? I totally forgot.
I think we need to talk about the new guys, and I think we should talk about contracts. I think that's an important part.
Oh yeah,
I think that's going to be the discussion that I think a lot of people need to hear.
Oh yeah, what I was going to say before we get into that, it was my drink, the Robski. Very quick, very easy. I was at a party one day and someone said the same thing, very similar. Hey man, you're a DJ. You used to have your own drink. I go, I never heard of that before, but okay. Make up a drink. I go, well, the Robski. What the fuck's a Robski? I don't know. So I literally made up something at that moment. There was vodka, squirt, and a bag of sugar. So what I did was pour the vodka in with sugar, or excuse me, with squirt, and then I poured some sugar in there, took a spoon, stirred it, and it volcanoed, and it spilled out of the glass. Nice. It was really cool.
Wow.
So I had a patent move, said, y'all want a Robski? And it was like, yo, make a Robski, bro. Yo, and it was like, it makes a volcano. It's really cool. So I ended up making the Robski and did that every time, knowing that it was going to volcano. And it came out, and people loved it. So I said, I got to make this drink in the sink. I don't want to, get all over the counter, blah, blah, blah. So people loved it. So the Robski is squirt, vodka, and then you splash some sugar in, a teaspoon of sugar, and stir it immediately, and you'll see it volcano up.
Nice.
It's really cool. So there you go. That's the story I was getting into. So you know what? I want to get deep now. I want to get more into the newcomer things, because I know the newcomers that are listening right now that are looking to get into the scene and really want to do it right and listen to our advice. And remember, everything we're about to say is our opinions or the experience that we already have been through. We are not going to give any information out to you newcomers that is not at all real, that is bullshit coming out of our mouth. We are literally giving you our experience, our knowledge. And I've been in the scene for 20 years. G, how long have you been in the scene for overall?
I started when I was 4 years old, so I've been in for 35 years. Why you ask the old man how long he been in his business?
Gotcha, bitch.
I'm trying to sell records.
Yeah, gotcha, bitch. So, no. I'm sorry, G. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's okay, brother. Listen, everybody that knows me, that's listening. You listen. Anyone that's listening, they've partied with me. They're like, "Oh, we all know G. We know G."
I'm having a good time here. Everyone, you are listening to the House Jack City podcast here, the backstage portion of the House Jack City brand. And if you haven't already and you love house music, make sure you tune in to the House Jack City podcast every Friday for my podcast, the good old House Jack City, baby. So this one that just released, House Jack City, episode 13, Dr. Bass, my new mix. I tell you what, it is, I'm in love with it. My girlfriend loves it. Everyone loves it. So far, I've been getting some good feedback, some good, my boy Jeremy, good old Profanus out there, DJ Wicked from Structure Music has even hit me up and said, yo, 16, 17 minutes in, and that's the language right now, 16, 17 minutes in, there's no track number anymore, guys, so remember that. It is a straight track. There is no tracks. Remember that back in the day when we made some mixed CDs? We had like, yo, man, I got 47 tracks on there, and you go track 1, track 2, track 3 on the CDs. We can't do that shit no more. It's no such thing. It's all digital now. So, hey, make sure you go listen to all the mixes. I have some guest DJs on there. Brian S. was on there, Kid Rec, DJ Moon. And G, we got a mix coming up soon with you as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start dropping that stuff to you.
I can't wait, man.
I'm gonna start dropping it all to you.
Hey, and we got some other exclusive news we're going to be talking about too. Me coming down to Florida.
Oh yeah,
possibly going to Miami here, and we're going to be in the studio together soon. So watch out for that.
That's going to be good.
So Dr. Bass might be signing a track on GLR. You never know. So
we're ready to rock, man.
We'll get there. So everyone stay tuned for that. We got a lot of shit. So newcomers, get ready, because we are about to tell you what the fuck to do and what the fuck to don't. So here's our section of do's and don'ts.
There is a lot of don'ts.
And we're gonna I just want to let everyone know, this is the main segment. This is it's not the finale, but it is your peak of this podcast. The do's and don'ts for newcomers in this industry. Let's go. Let's start with the don'ts. Thank you for listening to part 1 of 2 of the House Jack City podcast, Backstage, with G. Cavelle and the G. Cavelle Project. For part 2, check out my SoundCloud at Dr. Bass Music.